Hey, what is up, everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you here today. Just the other day, I was able to check out the 2011 Royal Rumble. On the road to the Royal Rumble this year, I think I'm just going to be doing reviews of just the Royal Rumble matches. They're always very fun, and they're always very exciting for me. I think everybody can remember the countdown of trying to find out who's going to be the one guy to win the Royal Rumble to go on to WrestleMania to get a chance to go after the championship. I don't know why I picked this year, but out of all of the years the Royal Rumble, I chose the 2011 Royal Rumble. It was an event where they had expanded the Rumble from 30 competitors to 40 to make it the largest Royal Rumble of all time. This, of course, was on the road to WrestleMania 27, which would be the second WrestleMania that I was to attend, but also it was sort of the first WrestleMania trip that I was ever planning. So I think a lot of people know the story about me going to WrestleMania 26. I didn't know I was going to the event until a week of WrestleMania. This one was one that I set out plans with my buddies to travel to Atlanta. So as the steps were coming along, we were buying the tickets. We weren't really knowing what was going down, but everybody saw the rumors of the matches that were going to come down to it. But I know that I had sort of picked Del Rio to win the Rumble, but we really didn't know what was going down. So, Del Rio winning the Rumble was putting the piece together of Del Rio going up against Edge. This was also really fun because, I was able to go to the Elimination Chamber the next month, and a lot of things were putting the pieces of the puzzle of WrestleMania 27 together. So that might be why we chose to watch this one. But the Rumble itself opened up with an all-out brawl, which was very exciting because the leader of the new Nexus came out. CM Punk was number one, and shortly after he made his way down and getting into the ring, he was surrounded by the Core, which brought out the new Nexus, and they had an all-out battle. I remember the countdown until the Royal Rumble on the closeout Raw. We saw a face-off of the Nexus and the Core. The two heel factions from Raw and SmackDown. A very, very fun way to sort of kick off this Royal Rumble and have a real big feel of what was going down as the Nexus and the Core were fighting. I didn't even realize that the Core weren't, somebody from the Core wasn't number two. This was just a flat out before the show, I guess you can say free brawl to show you what the Royal Rumble was going to be like once all the guys filled up the ring. Basically, they were able to clear everybody out of the ring, get everybody to the back who wasn't supposed to be there. Finally, number two, Daniel Bryan, came down for a battle of the two of the best wrestlers that were in WWE at the time. Joining the fight at number three would be Justin Gabriel from the Core, who wasn't in there all out that long. And then we were able to go back to CM Punk versus Daniel Bryan, who were able to get rid of Zack Ryder once he came out to make it all out real wrestling challenge. With William Regal coming down to make it sort of a three-way between Punk, Bryan, and Regal. When I was watching this Rumble, I knew that there was a face-off between Regal, Bryan, and Punk, sort of like a wrestling fan's wet dream at the time. And I knew that this was going to be really fun. I kept thinking that Regal was number three, and then then he came out, and then he must be number four, and I just was way off on what was going down. The Rumble had a bunch of spots that people will always remember. John Morrison joined the Rumble soon after that, and he had the one big spot where he was going to be eliminated. I think Ted DiBiase is the one that gave him the shove, and Morrison jumped from the ring apron all the way to the ring barricade that separates the fans from the in-ring action, and he hung on and he pulled himself up and he walked along the ring barrier, much like Jeff Hardy would do, and then jumped all the way from the he jumped all the way from the ring barricade to the ring steps. And then once he sort of celebrated his step, someone had just been eliminated, who I'm not 100% sure who it was. I want to say that it was William Regal, but I could be off. It was just another heel. And as they were walking by, to add insult to injury, the cool spot that he had just done, Morrison kicked the heel and then got himself right back into the ring. I don't remember him lasting much longer once he got back in there, because at this time the new Nexus had started to fill up the ring with Punk already being in there, and Tunga, Husky Harris, and Michael McGillicuddy, and they just added strength in numbers, and as people were coming down, they were just eliminating them. It was the Nexus in the ring, and they just started throwing everybody out. They were responsible for the eliminations of Mark Henry, Chris Masters, Tyler Rex, Vladimir Kozlov, R-Truth. Guys kept on coming down, but because there was 4 of them in the ring and they were all a team together, they just kept on dumping people at one after another. One of the cool spots came as Chavo Guerrero, who was not in this Rumble all this long, as the ring was sort of filled with competitors. Chavo Guerrero got sort of like the spot of the night, where I'm not going to be in there all that long, but I'm going to get my shit in, much like Billy Gunn. And I can't remember what Rumble it was. It must have been like Rumble 01 or 02. But he just came down and he just kept hitting Faymaster after Faymaster. He wasn't in the Rumble all that long, but he got his finisher hit like 4 times in under a minute. Basically what Chavo was doing was he was trying to get his 3 Amigos suplex in, and he kept on being able to get guys suplex twice, and then as he was going for the 3rd one, being hit by somebody and then starting to fight with them and then hitting the suplex on that person. And I think we went through this about 4 times before finally he hit the 3 Amigos all in a row on somebody, and as he went to go pose, somebody grabbed him and tossed him out. The first surprise of the night came as Booker T made his return to WWE from TNA. He came out at number 21, and he came out to fight the new Nexus. Booker T, at this time, there were rumors that he was coming back to WWE, and he had said that he wanted to be an announcer, but, because he came back in the Rumble, no real, plans were made out. I know that this wasn't his only Rumble appearance. He would appear in a Rumble a few years later when all of the announcers were able to compete in the Rumble, as they all tried to get in to the in-ring competition. But I think he would only have one real match. No, I think because he competed in WrestleMania 28 as well, but he came back and he had a match against Cody Rhodes. But he was sort of the mainstay as the announcer of SmackDown for a long time. But now he's just on the pre-show of pay-per-views, and Monday Night Raw, I think, is where he's at. But fun stuff having him come back. John Cena came down at number 22. He ended up being the guy who broke up the Nexus party inside of the ring. He was joined by Hornswoggle. Cena and Hornswoggle ended up cleaning the ring, and they looked like they were going to battle. But they ended up saving their strength and saving their time in order to have a gentleman's agreement amongst the two. Tyson Kidd would come down. He would have sort of a thing with Cena and Hornswoggle before being eliminated in under a minute. And then this is when we start getting into the real nitty-gritty of, after number 25. The ring starts to fill up again. We see Kofi Kingston. We see Jack Swagger. Sheamus comes down. Rey Mysterio, Wade Barrett of the Core, Dolph Ziggler. Diesel at number 32 makes his return to WWE from TNA as well. It's funny with Diesel, aka Kevin Nash, and Booker T coming over. They sort of spoiled what was going down in TNA at this time, because TNA, I believe, was building up for a main event Mafia reunion, as they were going to come back and they were going to fight Immortal, who I think was joining at this time, which I believe was Hogan, Bischoff, Jeff Hardy, and a few other, scraggly guys that were inside of this group. They had put up a thing that, only one group could come back, and it was going to be Main Event Mafia. But you can't really have Main Event Mafia with no Booker T and no Kevin Nash. It would just be Scott Steiner. Who else was in Main Event Mafia? Kurt Angle, Sting. I guess they would stay there for a long time, but they ended up going in a different direction where I think they brought back ECW, and it just wasn't what it should have been. Once you get down to it, Alex Riley comes out at number 34. He is joined by The Miz. The Miz comes out sort of as his manager, hyping up, trying to get him to get the win. When The Miz's music hit, I think everybody thought that it was going to be Miz coming down, even though he was the champion, but he was dressed in his suit. He joined the commentary team for a while, and basically when everyone had their head turned over, what was going to be going down in the ring, The Miz jumped into the ring, eliminated John Cena, making it sure that John Cena wouldn't be going to WrestleMania for once it was all said and done. Alberto Del Rio came out at number 38, while Randy Orton came out at 39. Kane came out at 40. And that completed everybody joining into the Rumble. There was a spot in the Rumble when everybody was facing off. Santino Marella got bumped from the Rumble and he ended up spending some good amount of time on the floor. That basically, once the final four was all inside of the ring, no one really thought of Santino being in there. Alberto Del Rio eliminated what was thought to be the last competitor from the Rumble. I'm not 100% sure if it was Randy Orton who went over the top, but we started to get the celebration from Alberto Del Rio with his outside ring announcer, going crazy over, Del Rio getting the win. And then, Charles Robinson jumped into the ring, waving everything off, saying, no, there's one more, no, there's no more. Santino woke up from a groggy state, getting himself into the ring, setting himself up for the Cobra. And, basically, we saw him go to attack Del Rio with the Cobra, and as he came for it, Del Rio sort of at the last minute grabbed him and he chucked him over the top. Del Rio ended up winning the Rumble, where he would go on to fight Edge at WrestleMania 27, where he did not get the big win, but still a fun Rumble to watch back years later.